Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Lee's World. It is I, your host, Big Lee, coming to you live from the Big Lee's Boom Boom Room right here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I hope everyone's having a great start out to the year 2020. Hopefully, I think it was a going consensus that 2019 was a rough year for a lot of us, so let's hope that 2020 is going to be a much better year. Hopefully, like I said, January started out pretty well for you for the most part. And let's hope we have that positive outlook and positive results from that as we move forward throughout the rest of 2020. I know for myself personally, it's been kind of a slow January here. The weather here in the Midwest is kind of one of those things that's hard to plan for. You never quite know if you're going to get some good weather, some bad weather. And for those of you that know, I'm pretty well gun shy about doing things in January, February. Anyways, just because of last year towing a car in an ice storm. So, definitely been kind of taking it easy this January. Been spending a lot of the weekends here at the Boom Boom Room, hanging out with friends, catching up on some great wrestling on IWTV, IndependentWrestling.tv. Had to sit there and think of what it was called there. Watched some great shows on there. Definitely watched that ICW New York's No Hold Barred. Make sure you check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Starting out the year with a pretty strong card there. Definitely recommend it, especially if you like to watch violent events. It's definitely right up there on it. You know, as well, we definitely caught some Game Changer wrestling shows and H2O on the Fight TV. So definitely, if you're in the market to looking for some hardcore ultraviolet wrestling, make sure to check out those promotions on IWTV and on Fight TV as well. So 2020, like I said, kind of off to a slow start, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In my case, it's a good thing because coming off of the holidays and things of that, it's good to have a little bit of a rest period, a little bit of break before we really start jumping into different kind of endeavors and events we'll be getting into and hitting that road and making them towns and getting out there and just living life and having all these great experiences and endeavors. If you're not a big fan of traveling, I highly recommend getting out there when you can and hit some towns, hit up some events, whether it's wrestling, whether it's concerts, or whether it's just any event you enjoy. I definitely recommend getting out there and living life to its fullest because if there's one thing, nothing is promised to us, and tomorrow is promised to no one. So definitely make sure you're out there, you're living your best life, you're enjoying everything that brings hope and happiness and love to you. Now, on that same note, if you're a person that just is happy staying at home, by all means, do that. But if you're like me, you definitely like to get out there and experience life and kind of just take in everything live and in person as it is. And with that being said, 2020's got some great events coming up. I know the local wrestling promotion, which you've heard me talk about before, Cape Championship Wrestling, is doing their first of the year show as far as outside of town goes. They're going to be down in Charleston for CCW Chaos in Charleston 2, February 29th at the Charleston High School. This event's looking to be pretty solid. They do have Rhino coming in to challenge their champion Otis Crowley for the belt, which should be a good match in itself. I'm actually in the process of trying to get Otis on the podcast, so hopefully we're down there. We can try to get that worked out and have him as a guest on here as well. Holly Dead's coming in. For those of you that watch a lot of IndependentWrestling.tv, you know her as part of one half of the Twisted Sisters with my girl Thunder Rosa. So it's her first time coming into CCW, so I'm definitely excited to see her in action live for the first time. I've not got to see her there. Like I said, a lot of great cards. Make sure you check out CapeWrestling.com for that full lineup. But that weekend, that's not the only show going on, because we got our road trip already planned. Leaving out early Sunday morning to go to Collinsville, Illinois for that anniversary show that Glory Pro is putting on there. Looks like KLD and his team has put together another great lineup there, including some of my favorites. It looks like the top 2 matches on that card is going to be for the Crown of Glory Championship. Their champion AJ Gray is going to be putting on a war when he goes up against the Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson. And then in your main event, you're going to have KLD, my boy, who's someone else that I'm going to try to work on getting as a guest on the podcast as well. He's taking on our fearless leader, the king, the god, Nick Gage, in what should be an epic barn burner of a match. So, definitely leaves me some questions open with that. First things first is, should we bring a pizza cutter? I don't think Nick can fly with it. And I don't necessarily know how KLD will take us showing up with pizza cutters to give Nick. So, good luck to KLD with that. I think he's going to need it. It should be a violent barn burner, and I can't wait to be front row for that. And with that being said, that's not the only thing that we necessarily have going on in this whole area. We also have concerts coming up this summer, which not even just the summer, the spring. I had to make a note here of the things that I wanted to talk about. That's what happens when you work all day and you're tired. But nonetheless, so we have these concerts coming up, a bunch of them. A lot of concerts got announced this week as far as like what's coming to St. Louis this spring and this summer. A couple of the big ones. The first one, Napalm Death, a band I've been wanting to see for many of years, is finally coming back to St. Louis on a headliner. And they are coming with another one of my favorite bands, Abort It. Shout out to their drummer, Ken, who's also a big wrestling fan. And I definitely look forward to getting to talk with Ken some more there and discussing all of our thoughts about the current state of professional wrestling in 2020. So that's going to be happening April 20th at the Red Flag. So for those of you that are not familiar, apparently the Red Flag is going to be the new FUBAR. So for those of you that know me from outside of the wrestling business, you probably know me from the concert side. And I've been to a ton of shows. Quite frankly, I've been to a ton of shows at the FUBAR. So apparently the story is that Red Flag, I guess, is close to where the FUBAR is now. Apparently, I guess it's a bigger, nicer building. So the FUBAR is shutting down. I believe it's the beginning of February, and then all the shows that were booked at FUBAR and the newer shows are now being booked at this place called the Red Flag, which is apparently, like I said, very close in distance to the old FUBAR. So it'll be definitely interesting to check out that new location there. Hopefully they'll have my one big complaint taken care of, and that is the lack of parking. So hopefully, like I said, when I see this location, I'll have a parking lot pretty close by. I know the last show I went to at FUBAR was the Spite Acacia Strain show, and we got there early enough to get in line, but the little pay parking lot wasn't open yet, so I ended up spending the majority of the show worrying to make sure that my car would be okay. So hopefully this one will have adequate parking in a parking lot somewhere close by. That'll kind of give it a little extra protection, a little bit more security mentally, so I'm not spending the whole time during the show worried about the car. With that being said, the next show on the list that I plan to go to, I think I have the date right. It's May 4th at this place called Blueberry Hill, which is on Del Mar. I don't think I've ever been to a show there. I know I went and ate dinner there before I don't know what show it was that I went to, because I remember me and my buddy Dave went and ate there, and then we went across the river to Pops, but I don't remember now for the life of me what that show was. What was that show? Was it 10 years? It may have been 10 years. I think it was 10 years. I don't know, Dave, if you're listening to this and you hear it, then you'll have to let me know what show it was that we went out there to, because I'm pretty sure it was 10 years. And I remember getting a parking ticket out there because apparently, I guess I either parked in I think I parked in a no parking zone because I didn't see the no parking sign or no parking line or whatever it was on the concrete, because here in Cape Girardeau we don't really have that problem too much because we actually have parking lots at our places that we go to. So this whole street parking concept is just still new to me, but it's not anything that we really have to worry about here. So with that being said, I get off topic here, but I believe the date is May 4th. I believe it's on a Monday, if I do remember right. But one of my favorite all-time hardcore bands, Sick of It All, is finally coming back to do a headliner in St. Louis. I don't think they've actually did a headliner here. God, I want to say maybe 2014 it was at FUBAR. I think. I'm not too for sure about that date, but I'm pretty sure it was 2014. It may have been 2015, but I think it was 2014. And then they have going with them is Agnostic Front. Agnostic Front's one of the bands I've been trying to catch for years, but I've been unable to, just the scheduling wise and things like that. It's just kind of interfered with it. So as soon as this show got announced Monday, my buddy Bert, the booker there, he books at multiple places, put that out there on Twitter, and as soon as I got up from my desk when I saw it, and I went and put a vacation day in just so that I could make sure that I could do everything in my power to be there, because I love Sick of It All. I haven't seen them since that Warped Tour show they did in Nashville, and I couldn't miss them, and then now there's even more fuel to the fire to make sure that I get there to see Agnostic Front and meet Roger. That's on my bucket list, is to get a photo with Roger. And I hope to get a new photo with Lou, because the other one did not come out as well, but it was one of those things. I was just so happy to get to meet Lou at Warped Tour that I was just like, I'll take it. Because, I mean, really, by the time I looked at the picture, he was already gone past security, and there was no way I was going to get to sneak back there and get another pic with him. So with that being said, the next concert that's on my list is another big one for me, because it's the first time this band has played St. Louis in 10 years. That's crazy. But it is this band called Impending Doom. From those of y'all that are big in the metal scene, y'all know how big of a deal this is that they are coming here. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with this and are like, it's just some band called Impending Doom, that sounds rough. Well, let me tell you, Impending Doom is a Christian death metal band. So wrap your minds around that, a Christian death metal band. Very angry, very hostile. It does have a positive message behind it, but at the same time, very angry, very hostile. Their shows are known to get rowdy, so I'm pretty stoked about it. That is June 20th, which is also a Saturday, so that makes it even better. And then on the top of it, I saw on the advertisement that the show starts at 4, or doors open at 4, show starts at 4:30. So if you're old like me, that means you get to get back to Cape in an early amount of time, and you get to get some rest after being in that pit for so long. So that makes me really happy. And then I think the other show, the last show on my list that I can remember, because I don't have my Google Calendar pulled up, and like I said, I'm old and tired, but it's coming in July to the amphitheater. And I actually looked at tickets for this today, and tickets are pretty expensive. I think I'm going to go, but I don't necessarily know just quite yet. But it is the Disturbed's, I think it's 20th anniversary of the Sickness album. And they're playing the amphitheater in July, so you have them playing that entire album. You have the full-fledged Stained reunion tour on top of it. So Stained is opening for Disturbed. Anybody knows that Stained is one of my favorite bands. Aaron Lewis is one of my favorite frontmen, even though we have a difference in political opinion. But that's neither here nor there. But so they're coming, and they have Bad Wolves opening. And I've not got to see Bad Wolves yet. I've seen Tommy Vex a couple of times. I've seen him with when he was doing vocals for the Snot on the Snot reunion tour when they were opening for Mudvayne at the pageant in 2008. And then I seen them in Memphis. What was that band called? Westchester Massacre, Massacre, something like that, something crazy. I think it's like Westerfield Massacre or something like that. Anyways, I saw him there, and now that it looks like his much bigger success of a band, Bad Wolves, is opening that show. So that's pretty cool. So I'll definitely be excited to see them. Well, like I said, it's kind of on the fence here. I looked at it today. Apparently there's no pit for this show. It's all seats. So all the way down to level 1 are seats. And it looks like they had some front row available this morning when I was before I started recording this. And it was like front row without a meet and greet for Disturbed. Just a regular front row was like $500 and something. And then I think it was like $1,200 to include the Disturbed meet and greet and the front row. I looked at Stain's meet and greet packages. It was $375, and that I think it got you a seat in like the third or fourth row. So I don't know. If I did it, it would definitely be for Stained, not for Disturbed. Not that there's anything really against Disturbed. I saw them a few years back on one of their reunion shows, and the band wasn't overly that friendly to talk with, but they put on a great live show, so I guess it kind of averages out there. And like I said, I'm just a huge Stained fan. I've seen Stained multiple times, multiple venues, and they always deliver a great show. So it's definitely worthwhile to check out. And, if anybody out there has some free tickets to hook your boy up with, hit me up, let me know. I'll be glad to take some off your hands there. Or you need a designated driver to the show, because anybody that knows that I'm not a big drinker at a concert. It's too cheap. It's not really my style, so I just go to the show and drive back. So if you're looking to go to that show and you need a designated driver, you buy my ticket, and I can definitely be your DD for that. So just putting that out there just in case, you decide you want to go and, you want to take your budget for the $15 beers. That's fine. Just, I can drive you. Just make sure you remember your boy when it comes time to get that ticket. So nonetheless, like I said, overall, it looks like they got some pretty big events coming up around here. And I know some other ones. I know like Eve 6 has been announced, and Alien Ant Farm at Pops. I just actually, right before I started recording, saw something about that. And I was like, wow. I've seen both of those bands. They put on a great show. I remember them back in their heyday, having their albums as a young teen. So it's kind of interesting to see them two tour together. So I may have to check that one out. And then I feel like there was another show that was announced I wanted to check out, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, I know they got the local 105.7 The Point has the radio station's big Point Festival out there called Point Fest. And I know they got Puddle of Mudd on it this year. And that was one of those bands that I really would have liked to see. But one of my biggest problems with Point Fest is they tend to schedule it the same day, or not the same day necessarily. Now, a few years ago they did. But a few years back, they did it on Mother's Day, but they usually schedule it Mother's Day weekend, which is really hard for me to do something like that on Mother's Day week, because I always try to spend it with my mom, because, well, it's Mother's Day, and I try to be a somewhat decent son. Not always the best, but I try to be for the most part. So nonetheless, I'm probably going to have to miss out on that show, so hopefully Puddle of Mudd will announce a full U.S. tour and kind of try to find a date there, and then try to make that. And I was trying to think what else shows were coming up. I know Spite's got some shows coming up. I know they're coming to Chicago. I know like Kill Switch, August Burns Red Light, the Torch Tour is coming to Chicago that first Saturday in April, which I'm considering to go to. The only problem is it's the same weekend as WrestleMania weekend, and I'm kind of torn on whether or not I want to go to Chicago that weekend, or if I do want to go down to WrestleMania weekend, go hit up WrestleCon and hit up some of them shows, the GCW Collective. I know they have the Big Freedoms Deathmatch show. I believe that's on the Saturday night, so that one would be one that I would want to hit up, and then definitely support the local homies and make sure to hit up the Glory Pro show down there for WrestleMania weekend. So definitely make sure if you go down there for that, make sure you check out the Glory Pro show. Make sure you check out Freedoms. Make sure you check out Black Label Pro. There's a lot of great companies down there that we can run and show. So definitely make sure that if you're going down there, take some time, check out some local indie wrestling, and just absorb it in. And then remember, once you've seen it, you'll enjoy it. And then make sure that you start getting your tickets and supporting that local wrestling when it comes to your area. They all do great work down there, so make sure, like I said, you check it out. I'm sure if you do any kind of social media, you're seeing all the posts about it, so just, like I said, go in and check it out. You're down there. It's the biggest wrestling weekend of the year, so, like I said, check it out, but definitely make sure to check out Glory Pro down there. Check out Black Label Pro, check out ICW, and check out Freedoms. Those will be the ones if I do make it down there. If I do make it down to Tampa that weekend instead of Chicago, that I plan to check out. So definitely make sure you hit up their respective social medias, Google it, because my mind's not the best. So definitely Google it, find out all that information. You're going down there, plan your trip accordingly down there. And like I said, all these great events are going on in 2020. I expect even more to be announced. So definitely make sure to stay connected to your favorite social medias as far as if it comes to wrestling, if it comes to concerts. Make sure to follow your favorite promotions, your favorite bands, your favorite venues. Just make sure you check it and support these events, because that's what keeps getting bigger and better events coming here. You support it when it's small, it grows and grows and grows. And like I said, just some things that I know that are in the works as well. CCW is going to still continue to have monthly shows going forward. The big Super Show, I know is good. I know I can say that the big CCW Super Show is April 25th at the Arena Building. I know we had a meeting actually today about it, and with Ken and Jason, and it looks like tickets for that's going to go on sale. I think they said mid-March. And it looks like they're locking down some pretty solid talent announcements. Or talents, I should say, not talent announcements. And they'll be making those talent announcements very soon. And I think you're going to be very excited about it. I could spoil them here for you, but I'm not that type of person, so you're just going to have to wait that out and see. So make sure you stay connected to their socials. And speaking of socials, if you're just checking out this podcast for the first time, or you're a long-time listener, I appreciate and I love the support y'all give me. Make sure to follow us on all the social medias. You can follow us at Big Lee's World on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, at Big Lee. At Big Lee's World. And then if you want to follow my personal stuff, see all the stuff that I kind of get into and things of that nature, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BigLee756. So like I said, to kind of wrap this up, it's just kind of a quick episode just to kind of outline what's going on in 2020, kind of give you an update there, kind of give you some info about things that are going on in the area. And if you're wanting to kick it with me, you're wanting to come hang, talk about the podcast, talk wrestling, talk music, these are some of the events you can find me at, and come up, say hi, come talk to me. With that being said, 2020, there are some pretty solid guests I'm wanting to get on here. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to get the CCW champ, Otis Crowley, on here. I want to get Hollister Roll on here. I want to get a couple of fans on here to kind of talk about CCW. I definitely still plan to do the retrospect of my time involvement with Cape Championship Wrestling year by year. So I need to, I got a few things I want to work out on that first before I start recording with that. And then those actually should hopefully be rolling out in a few weeks. Like I said, just kind of want to get this out here for that. Make sure, like I said, if you have any questions, shoot us an email at bigleesworld@gmail.com. Hit us up on the socials at Big Lee's World across all your platforms. Like and subscribe to the podcast. One other thing I want to put out there as well. We got a new podcaster out there in the game. His name's Caleb Carter. He's got a podcast called Four Sides Podcast. He's a real big wrestling fan. He kind of goes into details on that. So make sure you give a check out to his podcast. He just got his first episode out by the time I'm recording this. So make sure you go to, I know it's on Spotify and I know it's on Anchor. I'm not for sure where else it's released at right now, so make sure you Google that. Check out his podcast if you really want to get into the ins and outs of indie wrestling. He's a great guy for it. He knows all this stuff, so definitely make sure you do that. Hopefully, I'll have him on here as a guest as well, and I do plan to do his podcast as well, kind of go on there and talk about my experience with indie wrestling and some of the backstage stuff that you may not necessarily get to hear about. So definitely make sure you be on the lookout on his Four Sides podcast for that. And then, like I said, also, if you know of any guests that you'd like to personally hear and hear, I know I have a list of people I'm working on getting. But I do know that if there's somebody you want to hear something like that, shoot me a message, DM me, email me, whatever you want to do, and I can work on making that happen for you. So like I said, this is just a short episode just to kind of give an update on where things are and what we're looking forward to in 2020. So, like I said, I appreciate the love, support. Make sure you share this episode if you enjoyed it, or if you just want to show some local love to your homeboy here. So, yeah, like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, all that fun stuff that comes along with doing a podcast. And like I said, if you have any questions, just let us know. Once again, as always, thanks. Much love for support, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. 2 scoops of whoop, whoop, whoop.